Yeah, I think the evolution part falls with the relationship part. Um, Not just relationship with your coaches, but the relationship with your kids, because you don't ever know exactly what one kid's going through something and another kid could be going through something totally different. So you can't treat them all the same across the board. And I know a lot of people will say, "Well, we're doing this, and this is how it's going to be done," and da da da. That's really good if you've got a bunch of kids that are all following that same thing. But we don't have that. So the relationship part in coaching is huge. You have to create them. You have to work at them. One of the things I spend time in the hallway talking to kids. I'm sitting at lunch with them, down there and watching them and monitoring them and talking to them, checking on their day. You try to get a feel for them because they're not all in the same situation at home. And like I said, the evolution part goes with the relationship part, and it kind of got to get your feel, and we always talk about the standard at our place. Excellence is the standard. It doesn't matter what you're doing. We want you to do it at the best of your ability. Which may not mean you're bench pressing as much as the next guy, but I want you to do it the best of your ability, and I want it to be as good as possible. We want to maximize our time, every time we walk in here. And I think our kids have done a good job with it. I think our coaches do a good job with it. We're not going to be standing around. Like we come in the weight room at 7 o'clock in the morning and we blow the whistle at 7 o'clock in 1 second. We're going to work and we're trying to get done, at 7:45 for everybody to get showers and get to class and get their protein and everything else. So, yeah, it put a little pressure sometimes on us coaches, but I think having the schedule, having the relationships, being around the kids, it helps you evolve to what you can and can't do. And when you have small numbers, I love to run a hurry up offense, but if you've only got 19 kids, you better be in the huddle taking all 40 seconds before you snap it the next time. So you evolve in that. And I've been around coaches that say, we're going to run this, we're going to run that. Not me. I'm a flexible dude. There's times that we'll go to a 4-man front on defense. There'll be times we're in a 3-man front on defense. If I've got 3 monsters, then we're going to put 3 down there. But if I've got a bunch of small kids, we're going to put 4 down there. We're going to go to work. So that's the game aspect of it. But all the other stuff is, like I said, relationships. You got to build relationships.
No, that's
Love that.
fantastic. Absolutely love it. As you're talking through, something that sticks out to me. I mean, first of all, how you went through a season with 19 guys blows my mind. So kudos to you on that. I think you might know a thing or two about keeping kids healthy when you got 19 guys on a football team and you were able to go throughout the entire season. But that kind of sparks a question in my mind of, like, in terms of resources and support, when you're thinking about your athletic director, what resources or support have been the most helpful in assisting you building and sustaining a successful program?
Well, I think everybody's got to be on the same page, resource wise. Everything here, when we started, football, I took it over after it had only been in existence 1.5 years. So they had started out as a JV team. They played as a single A team their first year and won the state championship, which is a blessing and a curse. But they were supposed to be a 3A school, so they got to play down with 3A numbers in single A. When I took over, we moved up to AAA right away. And so, you have to come in, you have to create a culture. And I've been blessed with both Coach Wilson and Coach Nash as athletic directors that they allowed us to establish a culture, which was a lot different than I think a lot of people at Frederica Academy, small private school on an island. The mentality, a little bit different than, I was probably a lot different than they were expecting. I think the coach before me was kind of quiet and would pull everybody aside and talk to them quietly, whereas I'm yelling at you on the sideline to, we got to be going, we got to do this. And I think, that's probably a little bit different culture. But now I think with the resources, we've revamped our entire stadium. We built pavilions. When you talk about resources, and you go in and talk to our parents, they're going to give you what you need. Kind of like the resources right now when you're talking about, we need protein, so we got to get these protein shakes. We got to get these Uncrustables that the kids all want to eat, these peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So, I'm like, hey, we're going to spend $15,000 on food, to feed these guys for the next 25 weeks and make sure that they're getting a certain amount of protein. most of the time they're like, okay, let's get it all figured up, get us a thing, and we'll get it all divided up amongst ourselves, and then we'll get you the money, however we got to do it. And our AD, when I go to Coach Nash and say this is what we got to do, we lost last year in the Final Four, and I said, listen, the team that beat us, they're going to be playing for it again. So you saw what they look like. What do we got to do to catch them? And he's like, whatever you got to do, find a way. But at the same time, you got to keep it within the parameters of everybody in the program, because football benefits the whole athletic program. It's the one that, football and basketball usually take care of everybody else. And I understand that. I've done it for years. I've been a track coach. I've been a basketball coach. I've done all those, baseball coach. So I understand that football helps take care of everybody else. And I try to help take care of all of our sports in some way, to make sure that we're all going in that same direction. My biggest thing is I stay on people about the weight room. Be in the weight room, get your kids in the weight room. That's where the culture develops, is in your locker room and your weight room. The time outside the sport, when they work, when it's hot and it's miserable and they have to get up early, and the investment. We talk about the investment process. What you put into it's what you're going to get out of it. And I think our kids understand that, and our administration has done a great job with us. They've revamped the baseball facility. They're about to build a brand new $7.5 million gym back here. They've raised the money to put in. We've just revamped the football field and put pavilion in, put new bleachers in. So when it comes to resources, they're going to find a way to try to take care of our programs.